Are you constantly saying sorry at work, even when you haven't done anything wrong? Maybe you apologize for speaking up in meetings, for sending a second email, or for simply existing in someone's path. What feels like being polite or humble might actually be undermining your authority, your confidence, and even your career growth. Today, we're digging into why over apologizing happens, especially for women and people socialized to keep the peace, what the research says, and exactly what to say instead so you sound confident and kind, not cold or arrogant. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Workplace Therapy with me, Dr. Abby Medcalf. And this topic today was something that was requested quite a bit. So here you go. And you know how it feels. I don't know, you bump into someone in the hallway. Sorry, you start a meeting a minute late. Sorry, I'm behind. You ask a clarifying question, maybe during a presentation. Oh, sorry if this is a dumb question, but so let's pause right there, because what you're doing, it might feel like being polite, but you're likely actually apologizing your power away. Okay, so let's first talk about why over apologizing happens. It's not just a personality quirk. And at its core, over apologizing is a form of self-protection. And for many people, especially women, neurodivergent professionals, people from underrepresented groups, saying sorry becomes kind of a social lubricant to avoid conflict, to soften your presence, or really signal submission in some sort of power structure. It's the verbal equivalent of a white flag. And research shows that women tend to apologize more frequently than men, not because they're inherently more remorseful or something, but because they perceive more behavior as offensive and therefore apology kind of worthy. I looked at one study that found that both men and women apologize at similar rates when they believe they've committed an offense. But women interpret more situations as needing an apology. So that's why it tends to be more there. And this isn't about being weak. It's about how we've been socialized. And women are often taught to prioritize harmony and avoid being perceived as, difficult, bossy, or too much. So over apologizing really becomes a survival strategy, especially, of course, in male-dominated environments or any kind of really toxic work culture that's going to penalize directness, which happens a lot. There's also imposter syndrome. If you constantly feel like you're about to be found out as a fraud, it makes sense, and the research backs me up on this, that you default, right, to apologizing for speaking, for existing, for taking up space. And I did on the Relationships Made Easy podcast, I did an entire episode on imposter syndrome, so I'll link to that in the show notes. But here's the problem. There's a hidden cost to all those sorries. Really, excessive apologizing, it doesn't just make you look less confident. It can erode how others see your credibility and your competence over time. I read a huge review from 2023. It was a review on workplace communication, and researchers found that frequent self-deprecating language like habitual apologizing really reinforces perceptions of low status, especially in leadership roles. And God forbid you're not in one, you're trying to get to a leadership role, right? Even worse, you start to believe it. What you say reinforces what you feel. If you say sorry 10 times a day, your brain is keeping tally. It internalizes that you must be doing something wrong, even when you're not. I know, let that sink in. And I saw studies, I did a lot of research for this. Other studies have also found that language choice influences power dynamics. I don't think that's a shock to anybody listening. So apologetic, or what we also call hedging language, often leads to these sort of reduced perceptions of leadership potential and assertiveness. Okay. So again, if you're trying to get a better role, if you're trying to move up in an organization, that's going to be part of the problem. And the research showed this was particularly when used by women and Black, Indigenous, and people of color, what we BIPOC, right? Professionals, when it's used by those professionals. So really, to me, just a huge problem. So what do you do instead? You can follow. I create, me, I'm always creating a little 5 steps to this and 2 steps to that or whatever. But for this, I created my 5 steps to break the sorry habit without seeming, cold or rude. I think that's what people are afraid of. So, because I want to be clear, you're not trying to become some, I don't know, stone-faced corporate robot who never shows warmth. That's not our goal here. You're just trying to speak with intention and let go of guilt that doesn't belong to you. So, so here are my 5 steps to make that happen. Step number 1 is to track and reflect. I want you to spend one day or one Zoom-filled afternoon or whatever it looks like for you. I want you to spend that day tracking every time you say sorry, and then reflect. Was there actual harm or wrongdoing? Would I expect someone else to apologize in that situation? What emotion was I trying to manage? Maybe was it fear? Maybe it was anxiety, discomfort, something else. Am I just on autopilot saying sorry all the time? It's just such an automatic reaction. And you need to be honest with yourself. This isn't about shame. It's about awareness, right? And you're going to have to be mindful to do this, I want to say. So again, I have a free mindfulness starter kit. I'll link to that here. You can get, but you're going to have to work on your mindfulness because you're likely saying it so much more than you're aware of. But just, again, putting it into your kind of consciousness will help you notice it. Step 2 is you want to swap sorry with assertive alternatives. Okay, so if you're using sorry as a reflex, I really want you to rewire. It is time. So let me give you some examples. Instead of, sorry I'm late, you might say, hey, thanks for your patience, and jump in. Sorry to bother you. I hear that one a lot. Hey, sorry to bother you. Hey, is now a good time? Excuse me, is now a good time to talk about blah, 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 right? No more sorry to bother you. Instead of, sorry for the delay, sorry we were delayed, try, hey, I appreciate your flexibility. Hey, I appreciate your flexibility. I'm realizing I'm saying hey a lot. Don't say hey all the time, but you get what I'm talking about. Why do these work? Because what you're doing is reframing, right, from that sort of guilt to gratitude, which, again, the research shows leads to more positive perceptions and is not going to diminish your status. So that's really what we're trying to do. Step 3 is, I'm going to call pause and breathe. That awkward silence you're trying to fill with sorry, you need to learn to really let it live there. And people with high emotional intelligence tolerate silence. That's one of the things you get better at. They don't rush to apologize for being human. Practice breathing through those moments, letting your words stand alone. It's incredibly powerful. And again, if this is hard for you, I need you, again, to work on your mindfulness. I know I talk about mindfulness a lot because everything comes down to that. At the end of the day, I could teach you every great tool in the book. If you don't remember to use it, or if you're not noticing in the moments, then it's all a waste of time. So daily mindfulness practice is so, so important. Again, download the free kit, search mindfulness on my website. There's tons of free information, or if you're watching on YouTube below the video, search Abby Medcalf Mindful. A ton of stuff will come up. So nice and free. There you go. Step 4 is to practice assertive communication. Use scripts that assertively communicate. And I have sort of a research-backed formula for assertiveness that I'm going to give you right now, which is to describe the situation, state your need or a request, whatever it is, and then say thank you. So those 3 things together. So I'm going to give you some examples. Let me give you some good ones. I wanted to clarify something about the meeting notes. Can we review the deadline together? Thanks for your time. See that? During yesterday's client call, a few of my points didn't make it into the summary. Could we add them before the final version goes out? Thanks for making the update. See how assertive? Let me think of another one. I've noticed we've been starting the team huddles a bit late. Can we aim to kick off right at 9 so we can wrap on time? Thanks for helping keep us on track. See that? Getting specific is really important. Let's say you're a manager and you're going to speak to one of your direct reports. So you might say something like, I noticed the report was submitted without the updated numbers. Please double check and resend with the corrections today. Thanks for getting it back quickly. Okay. Maybe you're talking to a colleague, kind of a peer-to-peer. I saw your name wasn't included on the shared project folder. Can we make sure you're added so you have access to the latest files? Thanks for taking care of that. Right? All of these examples avoid hedging, apologizing for what you need. You're being direct and respectful. That's all you have to think about. And again, I did a full episode also on the Relationships Made Easy podcast about how to be an assertive and effective communicator. Again, I will link to that. Yeah, that might be something you want to watch if this is really difficult for you. Step 5 is to, of course, know when an apology is actually needed. I want to be clear, genuine apologies matter. There's a lot of research that shows that a sincere, timely apology will helps restore trust, especially when you include some acknowledgement of any harm you've done and a plan for change. So obviously don't cut out all apologies, but you want to reserve them for when something actually went wrong and when you truly mean it, not again as a knee jerk or not, to assuage someone else's feelings. So I'm going to wrap up by saying that apologies are tools, not punctuation marks. You can be warm, kind, thoughtful without diluting your authority by really speaking with intention instead of that automatic reflex. So, and when you do that, you're not just helping other people take you seriously, you're helping yourself believe in your own worth. Okay, so important. So, putting today's lesson into action, I do this on every one of these. I already, again, mentioned downloading the Mindfulness Starter Kit, which I hope you do, but I also created a great tool for today. I'm calling it what did I call it? The Apology Detox Toolkit. It's like 10 phrases to use instead of sorry at work. So as always, you can download anything or check out all the research and the links and all that by looking either below the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you are, or you can go to abbymedcalf.com and /episodes. You'll see, you'll find this particular episode and under the workplace therapy drop-down menu. And there's always a blog that I write for every episode. So you don't have to listen again, or maybe someone who should hear this and they don't listen to podcasts. So you can forward the blog to them. A lot of people do that. So that they get it. But either way, you can download from there or where any of those places. And if you ever have a question that you'd like answered on a future episode or a topic you'd like me to cover, you can email me at abby@abbymedcalf.com, or there's a Let's Connect page on the website. You can do it there too. All right, that is it for today. I hope this was helpful. Definitely let me know in the comments below the video, or again by sending an email. If it's helpful, what you liked best, what you'd like to see more of. All right. Have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you real soon.